Good Saturday morning. How you doing today? Well, we got some sun, but everything's wet and muddy. So we have to use our cardboard that we lay under the vehicles with, so that we're not tracking mud into the house. I wiped the table down, and I came back from my hardware store. Let me show you what I got. I bought 2 of these couplers to fit inside of the PVC, and it fits perfectly. I was going to use a dowel, and I'm going to do something a little different than even the screw idea. Putting like 3 screws in here and having the points go in between the gears and the valleys here. Okay. We're going to cut grooves with the saw very carefully in this insert, about a 1/2 inch in, so that this will slide. This will be like a gear on the inside of this, and you'll see when I get it done. I got 2 couplers. Now they have a little ridge here to prevent them from going all the way in, but that's not a problem. I got 2 just in case, I mess up one. So I just file off that ridge, and then instead of just going halfway in, it'll go to full distance in. And then about 3/8 of an inch from the end in here, I will saw pieces out of it so that the teeth themselves will drop in to the parts that I sawed. In other words, make something like a gear on this. Then put PVC cement on it. I think I'll have to take these stickers off of these things. Smooth this out. Get this fireless ridge off so that this thing will go right down in here. This looks like about 1 inch long. I don't know how long it is, but it will fit down there the full length of what this is going to be, and it'll be glued in place, but not until I cut the grooves in it and make sure that doing a dry fit, that this will fit over the top of the gear. So that's even better than the screws. Originally, Jim had suggested putting the screws in here, and another one of my viewers said, put 3 screws in here, self-tapping. That is exactly what I want to do. That will work. There's no 2 ways about that. That will work. You're not going to drill in this. This is hardened steel, as I was informed. That's fine. I have no intention of drilling into the gear. Drilling into this is what I was going to do, but if I use 3 or 4 screws in here, I would have to countersink them so they wouldn't stick up, so it wouldn't take up any space when the rope gets wrapped around this, if I use the screws. If I use this method, this will be up inside. This will be glued in place once it is cut to match this gear. The whole thing will slip down, so it would be like this, plugged on. It will not turn. It will stay in there. And when the cover is on, and a little pin coming out the other end, it'll be fine. I found this in my stash. This is heavy galvanized. This is mending plate they use for construction of trusses and so forth. This is not the thin sheet metal that I was telling you about. So if I line this up good, one of these holes could be for the center of this. And I need to cut this probably just about in half. Now temporarily, I put the bolts in this way so I can line these up. So when I get this where I want it, the plate will be brought up to here, and it'll be fastened at this point and locked in place up here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to round off the corners with my tin snips, because this is the size I need. Trying to avoid making a detailed video of this, but I made some changes to my original idea of lining this up, and that is I reversed the screws for now, and I'll show you after what I'm doing. Instead of using this dimple here, which is the center point, I put a tiny screw that I showed you in here, and I have the point sticking into the little tiny hole that's in the center of the gear. So I figured that would give me much more accurate reading, and also I wouldn't make the mistake of putting this plate on backwards. So now what I'm trying to do is to turn this so that I'm away from all these holes here and drill fresh holes in it. And I will show you after I mark these, and this is not going to be easy to do. These 4 screws will never line up with these holes that are in here, and I don't get too close, this camera won't focus that close, only about 10 inches away. So if I see at this point here, where my finger is right here, I'm going to be off center a little bit. Now I can make the holes a little bigger so I can shuffle the thing around a little bit if I have to. These are a little under a 1/4 inch. These are metric. I don't know what size they are. I have no idea. All I know is they're a little bit smaller than a diameter of a 1/4 inch. So if I drill 1/4 inch holes in there, I should be able to shuffle it around a little bit. So what I am going to try to do, and I got a very thick marker here, so that's not going to work out good for me, is try to mark this, and it's not going to be easy, especially with a thick marker, because I don't have a thin one handy by. And it's very difficult to keep this from moving. All right. And to keep the orientation correct, we're going to put an arrow here and an arrow here, so that I make sure I don't reverse this thing. Now I'll show you. I'll lift this up. You see this little hole here? You may not be able to see that, but you've seen it on other videos. This little point of this screw went in there. So now here are the 4 places that I gotta drill. I'll do that off camera. Here is the reference point that matches this. So when this goes on, this will be perfect. It should. And where this screw is where the shaft is going to come out. And what I'll probably do is have a little bolt in the center of this. I'll have to build this up with something on one end after I shorten this. And when this is made with a gear, as I said, I will cut it and make it fit in there. The other end will have like a little bolt or a screw coming out, which will go into this hole here, and this hole will be enlarged if necessary. So this is thick enough that this could be good. I was going to use 1/4-inch plywood because I don't have a PC board or anything like that, and I think this would be better. All right, I nailed this down so that it doesn't spin around and get out of control, because I got to drill a 1/4-inch hole in these spots. So I got to go get a prick punch first. And this hole here, I'm not going to drill until I see what the diameter of the what I call the rear bearing is going to be. So I got to get a prick punch, and that's not easy to find in my crowded shed because I can't get at it. I know where it is. All right, I got the 4 1/4-inch holes drilled, and the metric screws fit in there with just a little bit of play, and that's exactly what I want. And so now this should fit perfectly, and I could still trim this with the tin snips. This is pretty heavy stuff and hard to cut, and I've got these yard sale tin snips that I bought several years ago. I got these as a pair here. This is for a curved cut, and this is for a straight cut. These are Weiss. They're very good. That's why I get my good tools, good old yard sales, which there hasn't been any around in the last couple of years, and that's why I go to Jewett City. Okay, so anyways, we're going to continue on this now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dry fit this, double check this here again. All right, I got it all centered here. Now I just need to trim off the excess here, so we're going to cut here and cut here. And this is fine over here, and it's where it's supposed to be. So we're not going to cut here. We don't want to take any support away. We're just going to cut these here. We'll take out this screw here because we don't need it now. This lines up perfectly into that little dimple in the gear. So I'm going to cut this. I'll do this off camera, smooth it out a little bit. And then I think we're ready to make up the actual pulley and do something with that insert there. And that'll be the next thing to do. Alright, I filed and filed and filed and got this thing so there's no sharp edges. So when I reach in there to put the string through there and adjust it and so forth, it'll be perfectly safe here. So that's the plate. And I'll put it on the thing and show you. That's the plate. And that's how she's going to look. I rounded the corners off. I don't need to take any more material off. It's an odd shape. And you can see the gear is sitting right down on this. And I can see the hole right here in the center of that gear. So that's going to be perfect. So the next thing we got to do is work on the spindle. Alright, now what I got to do, and this is a little tricky, is get a pointer here. See where all the high spots are on the gear? I got to put a little mark in there, and then I got to take a saw or something and cut into this. And try to leave the pieces in between intact. It's going to take a lot of filing with a file like this, a triangular file. And that's why I got two of these in case I screw up. And then I got to file this little ridge off. This is 1 1/8 long. So that is the length at which I am going to cut this tube. I got a label on my fingernail there. So when this is shoved into here, after I cut this ridge, file this ridge off, I could use PVC cement, but I can't do anything until I file a groove in here to match up with these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy doing that, and we're going to give it a try. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to saw this off camera, starting out with this thin blade and then maybe moving to a larger saw, wider. Now it's not going to be tapered like the gear. You see how that gear is? I can try to do that with the file, but the main thing is if I get the high points that are left on here to go into the valleys of the gear, it's definitely going to hold. Well, it's not too good of a job, and it goes on only about halfway. It's not going to slip, that is guaranteed. But the only thing I can do here, I have to try to find my rat tail file. It's in the shed. I have a box of files, but I just cannot get at them. I have a rat tail file, and I try to go in and maybe take some material off on the inside a little bit, and then I can cut this down. I can cut through this, not a problem, with the tubing cutter, PVC cutter. But you know, it's on there, but it's only going on half the gear. And this may be a better candidate for splitting it, slitting it down, maybe with the hacksaw, and sticking this, because this here fits, that fits very tight on there. That is very tight. That is not going to slip. And I can drive that on there. I think I might use this instead of this. I'll bet you anything that'll be better, because that fits very, very tight on there. Alright, I cut these down, all of them, to 1 1/4 inches. So, I don't know, I kind of like this idea better. This will fit right in there nice, and it fits right in tight. Where this locks in good, but it only goes halfway down. I can try to squeeze that down and see if I can get that to go down harder. No, that's not going to work. It's got to be on there all the way. I think we'll do this. And you know what? We haven't got enough gear. It's only like a 3/8 of an inch to put a clamp on it. It could still slip off. I can drill a tiny hole in here and put a self-tapping screw in there, let it go into one of the gear valleys here, and that will definitely keep it from spinning. But I don't even think I need to do that. I don't think I need to do that at all. I think this will be just perfect. Okay, here's what I did. I pressed this on there. That's not going to slide, I can guarantee that. Not the amount of force that I'm going to be putting on it. I drilled a hole in here so that it'll take the rope. The only problem is when this is assembled, I'm going to have an SOB time of putting that rope in there. So what I'm going to have to do, the rope is extra long. I can do this outside the Dorkel body, and this piece here goes inside here like this. I can't get a 3/4 inch washer. This is as close as I can get it. Sits like that on top. Okay, it just sits in there. Then there's another little washer that'll sit here, and that kind of keeps it centered, okay? And then there's a fender washer from the other motor that'll go over like that. And you can see by this is a 2-inch fender washer, you can see how little room I've got. I have maybe a 1/2 inch at the most that I'll be able to wind rope on that before it overflows. So that's going to be a problem. I'm going to stick the rope in that little hole and then melt the end of it with a lighter so that it will not pull out. But I'm going to put this in Dorkel as close to the body as I can. So there might be maybe as much as 2 feet of rope that's going to have to be wound around that, and then get it up into the body, up where it's supposed to be. So that means this cannot be assembled until the rope is in there. Okay? It will be assembled now, and I'm going to do that to show you what it's going to look like. But it's going to have to be taken apart so that I can get the rope in here. Now you see where this sits, the rope will just come through in this area here. There's a piece of Teflon there. Rather than to build it all up and waste washers, I just put a little piece of Teflon in there that I've cut down, Teflon tubing, to get it to sit level like that. So let me assemble this thing loosely here, and we may or may not be able to do any more today on it. Okay, I just put it together for now, but I got to take this whole shebang all apart again in order to get the rope in there and, you know, melt the end so it doesn't come out. And then when this is mounted in, it'll be up into the Dorkel body like this. And this is simply a bearing that will ride on the, you know, just ride like that. There's no nut on it or anything. And what really holds this in is the fender washer, and there's another small washer underneath that so that this does not rub into this metal plate here. Okay, I got to put these aside because what's on this one is 1/4 and I used one of the fender washers in here. I decided not to put a fender washer down here because it's going to pull the this well pipe here away from the surface, and there's very little gripping area as it is now. So this in effect is going to be one side of your pulley, and this should work just fine. I don't expect any problem with this. I could put a hose clamp on here and clamp it down if it starts to slip, but I doubt very highly that will. And these nuts will be locked up once I get it into position. Right now I just snug them up so that this plate puts gentle pressure against this fender washer, and of course the little washer that you may or may not be able to see in there, and keeps this from coming off, sliding off. So I think this will work out quite well. We have to get these nuts put away. I won't be able to put them on the ends of this because I can't put a nut on that. I didn't expect to put nuts on that. If I tighten these down, lock these nuts in place, that's all I need to do because these are screwed into these holders here on all 4 sides, all 4 corners, or whatever you want to say. Okay, so that is it. That's it for this project for today.